I'd now like to introduce Tom Brown. Tom is the Executive Officer of the Goulburn Broken Greenhouse Alliance. It's a group of 11 local councils and the Goulburn Broken Catchment Management Authority. Tom has a background in industry and local government with a focus on corporate environmental sustainability. The Greenhouse Alliance works collaboratively to assist its members deliver on mitigation and adaptation responses to climate change. And the Alliance was established in 2007 to coordinate climate change activities and to achieve outcomes well beyond the capacity of individual members. The Alliance has delivered many projects, and today Tom will present on one recent major project that has helped set a precedent for investing in climate change to drive positive financial returns. Please welcome Tom Brown, Executive Officer, Goulburn Broken Greenhouse Alliance. Welcome, Tom.
Hey everybody, apologies for my voice. I'm might have to have a sip of water from time to time. Some good conversations about local government earlier on in the day, and I hope today that I can give some examples of some of the efforts that local governments are trying to do. And I feel that what I'm going to share with you today is equally translatable into the business setting, particularly around energy efficiency, the savings that can be driven from that, and that interconnect with climate change. So the Greenhouse Alliance run a program called What's Working Better. Any energy nerds out there, I hope you are smiling silently to yourself. I might skip through this. Thanks, Rob. The project effectively upgraded old energy inefficient streetlights across nearly the entire Hume region of Victoria, from an old technology from the 1970s through to LED and more modern fluorescent lighting technologies today. And I've got a short video along the line of Professor Audy's Celebrate What You Do. This was an attempt that we took to try and do that. And just bear with me for 2 seconds. The project enabled, I think it was about 11 councils at the time, to upgrade about 13,500 streetlights at a cost of about $5.5 million to those councils. That's a fairly significant investment from council in any type of infrastructure upgrade. And it really was the very first time that a group of councils or any individual council had really been brave enough to take money that is all ours as ratepayers and invest that in a way that would leverage financial returns to council and enable those economic returns to flow, as well as deliver some climate change outcomes. We'll come back to the video if we can. So Rob asked me to try and share with you today what the opportunity was from climate change in business. And it is the theme of today. And my graphic design skills are not excellent, but luckily Google Images can come to the rescue. So I tried to put together the thought process that went through councils' minds in trying to decide whether they could justify spending $5.5 million on upgrading streetlights that no one really thinks about unless they're not working. So for the councils, there was really a trifecta of tipping points that led to them making this initial decision to invest in energy efficiency that would deliver climate change results as well. Councils were facing increasing electricity costs, something that is very, very topical to any business, whether that's a council or any other business in the region. Energy costs are a critical impact on the way we work. We're coming under increasing requirements to decrease greenhouse gas emissions, whether that's from social perspectives or from government mandated targets. But we're also having a growing community expectation of action on climate change and a desire to create a more sustainable future. So councils began to understand this trifecta of pressures, and that led to the decision to understand there were actually new business opportunities for councils to participate in, which they hadn't done so to date. So the outcomes of that opportunity, that threefold trifecta of pressures or tipping points, was this street lighting project. We're lucky to be able to share the outcomes of this project as well as not just the plans. So on the screen here are the sort of headline figures that the project was able to achieve over its delivery phase. And it's important to recognise those figures are per annum savings. And the assets that were installed have a lifetime of about 25 years. So you can multiply that by a factor of 25. The graphs below I thought might be interesting to share with the group here, particularly if anyone here is looking at their electricity usage in their businesses and how they might be able to take better advantage of the knowledge they get from analysing the way their businesses use electricity. The two graphs show savings of electricity on your right and your left, and greenhouse gas emissions on your right. The blue bars are the business as usual costs back in 2012 for the council street lightings. Now these are an example of one council only. And then the green lines are the resultant decrease in energy cost and decrease in greenhouse gas emissions after the project was finished. You can see in some cases there that's approaching more than 50% reduction in cost. But the other thing I want to point out that talks to the intricacies of trying to work in energy efficiency is the seasonality of energy use. You'll see here in the darker months, the streetlights stay on for longer and they use more energy and consequently emit more greenhouse gas emissions. So it's important to understand the full suite of the way that your business interacts with energy, because there may be different opportunities winter versus summer. And there's not really always a quick and easy answer. So some notes on the project's outcomes. One thing that we found is that predicted savings are likely to vary to real world savings. They can go up, they can go down, they can not change. But the one thing that really comes through clearly, and on here are some examples of some changes in price to different costs of street lighting that the councils are exposed to through time. And the green and the red, apologies if anyone's colourblind, show the change in those costs that occurred throughout the project and change the bottom line for the business case of the project. These are probably unique to streetlights, but they effectively represent the distribution business's electricity costs, like the network tariffs that we would pay through time. So it's really important to control your own destiny, understand how energy can change through time. And one of the most valuable things that we did in gearing up councils to be brave enough to make a decision to invest was to do a sensitivity analysis to see how the business case for streetlights would change from a low, a medium and a high projection of either energy costs or instability or changes to policy settings. And by doing that, that enabled a huge degree of confidence in the decision, because we knew no matter what the variation was through this sensitivity that there'd be a positive outcome. Now, I wanted to talk to some points that Professor Audie brought up, and I'm glad she did, and that's about adding value or celebrating the success that you do. And you can look at it both ways. Celebrating success can cause more change, but it can also add value to your business or your enterprise or your image. Sustainability projects, be them energy efficiency or waste minimisation or NRM work, really provide an awesome opportunity for us to think about how we can integrate a social component into those projects and deliver a triple bottom line approach to the way we do business. Because with climate change and with energy, we're already getting an economic return, and most of the time we're already also getting a greenhouse gas emission return. So there's only one point of that pyramid left to work on, and that's the social aspect. And as a regional community, we are the communities that we are in this region, and we need to look out for each other. So this project worked with a social enterprise to actually recycle the old streetlights. That generated about 4 jobs for about 2.5 years in a structured workshop environment through a social enterprise in Shepparton, and avoided sending about 97% of the waste materials from this project to landfill. It really helped councils to be proud of this decision they'd made, not only because it saved money and saved greenhouse gas emissions, but also that it empowered people in society who were looking for opportunities they otherwise couldn't get. Don't be afraid to celebrate and seek recognition for the good work you do. We were lucky enough to win the 2015 Premier Sustainability Award for the Best Infrastructure Sustainability Project that year in Victoria. Don't be afraid, don't be shy, get out there. Things are available for you to help showcase the work you do. And it's my understanding that these awards are open to the 21st of June this year. So if anyone out there sitting on a gold mine, get in there and put in an application. It's well worth the effort, and it's a great night and some recognition. Just some brief lessons. We won't go into those, but I think they've been largely talked to already about collaboration, There's some issues around governance, but that's where you want to look at collaboration opportunities. And I'd encourage businesses to look at collaboration opportunities as well, particularly in the energy space. Rob spoke to that in my introduction, that together you can often achieve more than you can by yourself, and councils certainly wouldn't have been able to do this off their own back without collaborating. And that's it for me. I'm around for the rest of the day, so feel free to come and have a chat.